everybody. I hope the volume's okay. If it's not, please type me a message. Actually, I want to say first, because there was a little confusion, if you are seeing this message right now, because no one has tuned in yet, if you are seeing this message right now, that means that this is no longer a live video. And oh, now I have 2 people. Great. So except for the 2 people who are actually watching me right now, remember that this is live at 4 o'clock Pacific time. And so if you are not watching at 4 o'clock Pacific time, then it is no longer live. So go ahead and drop me comments anytime, but I will only see them live if the video is actually live, just to clear that up because of the confusion. So you'll notice today probably a couple of things. And hi to Debbie, who is now watching. I don't know why Facebook only tells me when certain people are watching. So if you're watching and are sad that I didn't say hi to you, that's because Facebook didn't tell me who you are. So anyway, a couple things today. I am obviously no longer in my bedroom. I am in what my family calls Australia. This is the down under part of the house, and it is actually just a room. I would swing the camera around, but it took me a long time to set up the angle, so I'm not going to do that. But basically what you can see in the screen here is the whole thing except for the wall right behind where I set up my device, which just has shovels and a trash can, so you're not missing much. So this is where we keep our gardening stuff, or at least it used to be. I haven't gardened in a few years, and a lot of my stuff is no longer in this room, and no one knows where it went. So I'm working on bare bones for my gardening today. Yesterday I came down and got my little planting area set up, and was kind of alarmed with how little supplies I had. But it's enough. I can make do. So I'm going to be getting my tomatoes started today. I have 2 packets here, Brandywine tomatoes and purple tomatillos. So these were both packed, I know the pack date's on here somewhere. These are, anyway, while I look for that, these are both Peaceful Valley Farm and Garden Supply organic seeds. Packed for 2015. So these are old. These are 5 years old. I don't have a lot of hope for them. Tomato seeds don't really store that great, even in ideal conditions. Which they were stored well. Like, it's cool and dry in this room, so they didn't freeze, they didn't get hot, but it's not great for storing seeds, this kind of seed, that long anyway. But I'm going to plant them anyway because they're certainly not growing in the packet, and I had them sitting around. I had some leftover potting soil sitting around, and I managed to scrounge up a few tiny pots, which I used to have like 100 tiny pots, so I don't know where they all went. But anyway, I managed to get a few of them, and so I'm going to plant them and see what happens. And I thought that would be a lot more interesting than me just sitting and staring at the camera. So anyway, oh, I wanted to note today my lovely hat. I was very sad this morning about the situation in the world. And so I was trying to do different things to cheer myself up. And so I basically slathered myself in essential oils, and I did some meditation, and I put on my favorite hat. I got this hat in Sioux City, Iowa, and I I got it at an antique store, and I was not going to buy anything. I was just there for other reasons, but I found this hat and I loved it so much I had to buy it and ship it home. But anyway, I love hats. And what is this? Anya says, I'm anxious to get my hands in the soil. Me too. Let's get started. And so I'm going to start with the Brandywine tomatoes. And what I did yesterday to get ready was I put the potting soil in my little pots here. And some of them are little clay pots, and 2 of them are standard plastic plant start pots. And then I have this one big decorative one back here just for somewhere extra. And since these seeds are not, well, first of all, the soil had been sitting also in Australia for probably also 5 years. And so, you know, at least 4, probably also 5. And so it was all, like, it's still fine, but it was all dried out. So I soaked it really well. So now the top is nice and dark. Before, let me see if you can see this one. I don't know if you can see, there's light spots and dark spots in there. Didn't get entirely uniformly soaked, but it's pretty good now. And I also have it sitting in about 1 inch of water so it can soak up from the bottom. So I'm going to get these plants started. Since I don't think they're going to grow very well, I'm going to plant them real thick and see what happens. So instead of doing 2 or 3 seeds per pot, I'm going to do a whole ring of seeds in that one, and maybe like 6 seeds in the other pots. Just want to make sure if anything's going to grow that I plant, because I only have 6 little pots and 1 larger one here, so not a lot of space and not a lot of good seeds. So I'm just going to plant them thick so I get the maximum chance of actually having something grow. So let's do, I hope if I poured enough in my hand here. I used to do a lot of gardening when I wasn't riding during growing season. I had all sorts of cool gardening tools, and I wish I knew where they all were. I'm going to have to go digging through storage in the basement. So 6 seeds in that pot. I'll lightly cover them in the moist part of the soil. Lightly tap the top down. And, oh yeah, I already scratched the line there. Let's put, this one's a little wider. If they do grow, I can also scrounge up more pots somewhere and transplant them if I do happen to get a lot. So I'm doing my little clusters of 3 seeds far enough apart that I can dig them up later if I need to, once they're rooted. But as I said, I don't have much hope for these. I do have a heat mat, which helps, and I did find that, but it's really big. I don't, since I did so much gardening before, I got the largest size heat mat, and that would be a good thing for these, but it's too big. It's not worth the trouble to make the space in here, because I used to do this in a different area of the property that I would start lots of seeds in. But just for this little amount, it's easier in here. So no heat mat. But it's a nice temperature in here. Since it's part of the house, It's not actually heated in this room, but it's getting heat from the upstairs. So I like tomatoes a lot more than I like tomatillos, so I'm mostly going to plant tomatoes. So all the little pots are tomatoes now. So it finally stopped snowing and hailing and everything, which is nice. I might have just planted that pot. It's really hard to do this while talking. So anyway, it finally stopped snowing and hailing, although it's cold outside. It's not freezing, but it's not really pleasant weather for hanging out in. But it's nice enough in here. I'm sure warm weather will be here before you know it. Alright, that's all the tomatoes I'm going to plant. Still have a lot of seeds. Oh well, we'll see if those sprout. And now for the tomatillos. Ah, thank you. It's Ina. I'm sorry, I've been mispronouncing your name. I have a pet heat mat I will use. Yes, those work well. I believe I even know someone with a pet heat mat that's not using one right now that I could maybe even borrow, but I'm not going to bother. I also have a bunch of other garden seeds left over that are about as old. Let's just dump all those in there. Really good scientific planting there. And so once it warms up a little outside, I can, and some of them I could probably plant now because they're cool weather crops. So I could do it right now, except I'm not really fond of cool weather, so I'm going to wait till it's more pleasant outside before I plant. Maybe next week or the week after. All right. Oops, that's not actually under the soil. Get in there. Okay, so now my seeds are planted. Ina says, getting warmer here in Pennsylvania. Yes. I am glad to hear it. We all could use some warm weather at this point. And just a note about California cold. I know California gets a lot of crap about being not actually cold, but I live in the mountains, so we actually do get snow here. It's not as cold as like South Dakota, for sure. Hardly anywhere is as cold as South Dakota, but it does snow. So we have seasons in the mountains. So I'm putting together some kelp, liquid kelp extract right now. That is for let's see, shake well before using, and I am applying it as a soil application. It says 2 to 4 tablespoons per gallon. I didn't really do the math on that. I did it a little concentrate, but that's okay. It is excellent at stimulating microbial activity by feeding the soil and plant microbes. It also contains humic acids, which may increase nutrient uptake. So, good for little seeds, good for grown plants, good for your trees. And you'll notice I'm using a coffee mug. This is what I was talking about, like I can't find my gardening stuff. And I had a little hand water. I have no idea where it is. So I'm using this dirty old coffee mug that has spider webs on it that was sitting down here. And I'm going to keep it from flowing too hard by pouring it on my teeny tiny little trowel here. Just get it to gently diffuse down into the dirt. So, apart from being sad this morning and wearing my favorite hat, today was not very exciting. I mostly just worked on homework. So, since it's an online course, I can work ahead a little bit. So, it's nice. I can work to my speed as long as I'm keeping up with the deadlines, and I'm more than keeping up with the deadlines, especially because there's nothing else to do out of the house right now. I mean, obviously I have stuff to do in the house, but like I can't go out, and so I'm dripping everywhere. Kind of a homebody. Oops, my phone's ringing. I thought I silenced that. Excuse me. Silence. Okay. But I did used to still go like to the gym and whatever, and now I'm not doing that. So exercising at home does not take nearly as much time. So I'm getting way ahead on my homework. I feel like such a model student. All right. That all looks good. Make sure none of the seeds floated up to the top. No, all looks good. All right, rinse that out. Set the kelp aside. I don't know where that lived. All right, so my seeds are planted, and hi to Polly. And so let's see how we doing here. So anyway, oh, I know what the other thing was, that the very important news that I have for today, apart from the excitement of gardening and my fun hat, is that I am looking for guests for my podcast. So if you would like to be a guest, send me a message. You can send me a message through Facebook, or you can send me a message, just drop me a comment, or send me an email, or whatever. Let me know if you'd like to be a guest. If you are curious about being a guest and don't know what it's like and don't know what we would talk about, I am sure we can come up with something fun, basically just some sort of conversation about something that's of interest to both of us. So, like, if you want to talk about horses, or you want to talk, I don't know what that was. If you want to talk about horses, or you want to talk about traveling, or you want to talk about your favorite hobby, if you want to talk about food or your hometown, I don't know, something, whatever. I'm pretty easygoing, and I would love to talk to you about being a guest on the show, and the perk is that you would be a guest on the show. So, yeah, send me a comment or send me a message, and I would love to discuss it with you. And it's all done by phone, and you don't need any special technology or special knowledge. It's just a short phone call. We basically just have a conversation. So easy peasy, fun and easy. So yeah, send me a message. And that is all I have to say for today. My seeds are planted, and the sun is out, and it's not as bad as I felt like it was this morning, I guess, maybe. So, yeah, I hope you guys are having an okay day, And if you're able to get outside and enjoy being outside, get some fresh air, or at least do something fun and enjoyable inside. And I will be back again tomorrow at 4 Pacific, which is 5 Mountain, 6 Central, and 7 Eastern. So come back again tomorrow, and I'm going to wear a different hat. And so I will see you next time.